So, to commemorate the Firmament guide that I released just 20 minutes ago, we're going to be actually doing the Skyrise Celebration live, just so you can see how it looks. It'll start in about 9 minutes, so for the meantime we're just hanging out a little bit. As you might have seen in the guide, it starts here, so that's why we're standing around somewhere in the middle of nowhere in the Firmament. But I'll be here to answer any questions while we're waiting. Okay, there's 8 minutes to go. In hindsight, I should have probably started waiting a little later. Oh, we have someone to wait with us. Excellent. So, a common drive for people to do the Skyrise Celebration is that it is one of the easiest ways and cheapest ways to get some free Skybuilder scripts, as well as some of these FET presents, as they're actually called. These FET presents can hold a lot of things. I do have a friend that regularly does it just for the money. So that's the main drive for most people, I believe. I don't think there's a lot of people these days that are doing Skyrise Celebration because they don't have the things that they want unlocked. So it is mostly like a money grinding solution every 3 days. It also gets very repetitive since it's the same thing every week or every 3 days in the same order, and almost like the FETs can be exactly the same sometimes, some specifically being particularly exactly the same every single time. I do believe the first one starts the same way, the same every single day, or every single session rather. For good or bad, you might have noticed if you saw the guide that I'm trying to be extremely specific with what you have to do for the different FETs, and that's because some of them, the instructions are not completely clear. And because of the relatively tight time frame, if you don't get it right the first time, then you might lose out on the gold reward. And that almost cuts your rewards in half. But fortunately, most of the FETs have like twice as many opportunities to get credit as you need to get the full reward. I can't exactly recall how many you need for each one off the top of my head. So we're just gonna keep doing the same tasks on the fete until it ends. There's plenty of time to run to the next fete once the current one finishes. That's also an important aspect. You don't have to rush. Guess I'm having a bit of a morning voice. Oh, we have another participant. They're hiding. So, I don't know what things the most valuable things are from these fete presents. I'll admit that for the most part, I haven't really participated much in this fete and Skyrise Celebration, both because the rewards were not something that I was interested in, and the actual content being extremely time sensitive meant that often I would just miss it, and I didn't want to come in the middle of it. Oh, we have a frog and a chicken. A green chicken and a green frog. And that looks like we have the perfect free company handle for this particular celebration. We simply have fates showing up to join us today. So another super important thing to remember when you're going to the Skyrise Celebration is to equip your non-combat jobs. So you don't scramble to try and switch to it when the fete actually starts. It's not like they start instantly. The first one gives you a good 30 seconds or so before you need to do something. So you do have time to scramble. Now it's gonna start in around 2 to 3 minutes. And then it's getting a lot more exciting, I guess. Another little thing is that the reason why this stream is a little earlier than usual is because this particular Skyrise Celebration is the last of the 12 sessions for the next 3 days. So I had hoped to do it more closer to when I usually stream, but it has to be now. Otherwise we'd miss it. Luckily they didn't move it out of Saturday at the very least. My Saturday anyway. Oh, I wonder. About a minute and 30 seconds? So another thing that happened this week is that the Moogle treasure trove started, which means that there's a lot of specific content that can be done for some rewards. A really funny aspect that I noticed is that some of the rewards are specifically things that I'm pretty sure you normally get from the Firmament. And I'm pretty sure those are not always rewards from the Moogle treasure trove. I'm pretty sure. So that's a really funny coincidence. Any moment now. Oh, here it is. So immediately we'll see that we have a lot of time before something actually starts happening, and that's of course because you need to be able to run here in time, regardless of where you are in the firmament. So they've made it so that you have a really good time to make it here. The NPC tells us where it is, and then it spends like a good 30 seconds to a minute on just talking to make sure that everyone can be here in time. When I was recording, I actually ran from the street down at the main market all the way up here because I needed to be sure. Gilana says, the Ufiti mount is usually only from the firmament indeed. Yeah, exactly. That is exactly the mount that I saw, is that I looked it up and saw that it's rewarded from this and Moogle Treasure Trove. But the thing is that I can't remember if this mount was awarded like the last session of Moogle Treasure Trove. Like maybe it's a normal thing. Okay, so now the most important thing is remember to click join the fate. And then we do get the explanation of how to do this, but at the same time it's still not entirely clear, because it looks like you're supposed to do emotes, but you have to use the 3 emotes on your action bar, and you have to target the one that you want to interact with. So we're going to have a Moogle and a Chocobo and a Pig as our 3 NPCs, as you saw. But yeah, Gilano, that was exactly the mount that I was looking at, like, wait a minute, isn't that from the firmament? And usually I'm pretty sure that the mounts you can buy from Moogle Treasure Trove are mostly like from extremes and stuff, so it's just incredibly convenient this week specifically. So they do explain what you're supposed to do. The big thing is that it's not clear that you're supposed to target the one that you're emoting with. And you can see over here that the points increase because you got it right. It's not exactly difficult, it's entirely a knowledge check whether you understood or didn't understand what you're supposed to do. And if I remember correctly, you just need 6 points, and they give you an opportunity for 11 points. So you can show up really late to this one and still make it. Though the first 3 points are the easiest to get since they're in a specific order every time. You can see people are leaving now because they already have their 6 points. But just to underline how much time you have to run from each fit, I'm going to stay until it ends and then run to the next one. Are they going to do a last one? Oh, that was it. Lana says, I'm coming to help a bit. Oh, how do you mean? With the feds? So you can see here that the next fed announces where it is. And now we're here. Was that you, Shilano? Nice. Thank you for showing up. Now we have 4 opportunities to hand in these comically gigantic Moogle toys. And I do believe that it is possible to get all 4 if you're really efficient. The reason you can only get 4 is because you can only use each crafting station once. I can't recall whether you need 2 or 3 to get the full credit, but we'll know once we start seeing people leave. And that's 2. It takes about 45 seconds to hand one in, so if you're efficient, and it can be done. And every time I'm about to click something, you can see that I use that filter button to make sure I don't click on a player. And we have a minute to hand in a 4th one if we really want to. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see that pretty much everyone leaves now. There's not many that stayed for the 4th one. There we are. And let's see which way was the 3rd one again. I think that was back up north. I'm not entirely certain. It doesn't really matter. We have all the time in the world to get there as soon as it gets announced. We can also see that we have an extra minute to hand in a 4th or 5th one if we wanted to. So, could get 5 points. But unfortunately there's no platinum reward. Let's see if we can make it. Take my toy! Right, it was Shirayak. That was the one I had forgotten. We'll look at the presents at the end of the session of Fates. So now we get a bazooka. I believe it's the only one that you don't need to join the fate for is the second one, the one we just did. Mhm. We join the fate and cancel our Heaven's Cracker. And just do this for a couple minutes. The good thing is that all of these fits are not that... you don't have to hurry that much to get them done. And in case the progress bar is something that makes you a bit worried, then fortunately more people will not make it progress faster. It's entirely time dependent. So it fills up completely the moment that the timer ends, and that will always be the case. So there's no rush like if you're fate farming or something normally, where more people may result in fates completing so fast you don't have a chance to participate. Now we see people that have finished, so they move on to the next spot. I do believe this one also gives you like an extra minute to hand in. Which does mean that there's about enough time for 1 or 2 more hand-ins at this point. So the next one is the Toy Hunter. I wonder if it was faster to just take the main road. Oh well. This does feel like the shortest path. Hmm. I'm pretty sure you get like over a minute between each fate. Hmm. So if you want to be really prepared, standing near one of the spawn points can save you a few seconds at the start. Okay. Another little thing to note is that turning into the pig will steal your sprint buff, so I would say that it's probably better to save the sprint for when you're delivering. That way you can both use it for getting to the mascot and also running back to the next present. This is probably the most lenient of all of the fits on how many points you need. That makes sense. You can be super unlucky. I'm pretty sure we need like 3 or 4 to get this one. Wonder if we can get the full round 10. That would be funny. Maybe not. So now we go to the last one. We're just down in the middle again. Well, people are celebrating. Oh, and we're offered the artisan gifts first. So that's for the Skysteel engineer and the house Jamail stonemason. In case you've ever wondered how to say DZE, I had to look it up myself. Jamail. Looks like you can hand those in from really far away. And then we get the merchants. We lose the sprint buff when you pick up the pick up the present. So there's not much to gain from being super efficient with the sprint. Just use it when it's available. That's a bit silly. So long range. I'm just tossing the present at the person. Take it! Hope it's soft presents. So to get the full credit, you just need to deliver all 6 presents. But you can deliver more. I think I discovered when I was doing it for recording that you could get around 10. And maybe 12. I think maybe it depends on whether we get the extra minute thing, whether you can get 12 points. Yep. You can hand everyone 2 presents if you want to. I actually think we can sneak in an extra one for one of the artisans. I think it's going to be really tough to see whether we can get 14. Dun 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 dun. Oh. Quickly! Take it, engineer, take it! Oh. Oh. What was that for? Oh. Yeah, so as you can see, even though I said it's about 30 minutes, but technically the last 3 minutes is nothing. It's maybe some talking, but there's nothing more to get. So now it's present time, and we get a token and a minion. Nice. More token. More token. Is this just like a stack of tokens and a minion? Could be. Oh, some barding. And some die. And another token. I do have some tokens here as well, so let's see if we can buy something. I don't think we can. Not anything special. Well, we could buy anything that I would want, because I already have both of these items. But the thing is that I got those in gifts from friends. If you remember that I mentioned that you can pass on the rewards you don't want to a friend. Yeah. I'm the friend. How about you, Gilano? Did you get, do you have this minion and this barding? Alright. Then I'll maybe check if any of my free company friends have them later. I know that the atrophied Atomos drops from the minion boxes from the Grand Company, so they're probably not super valuable. And even if they were, it's just nicer to give a gift to a friend. Now the question is, what do we do now? Now that the festivities are over. As you can see, the Skyrise Celebration is completely done. It's over. There's no more today. I believe very, very soon it'll switch over to saying that the next one will be in like 48 hours. Oh, you can get white and jet black dice. Oh yeah, I think I remember that. My friend Seb just going, I got die! And then he's like 400,000 gil richer, just like that. I think the most reliably valuable items you can buy here might be either the materia for crafters and gatherers. I think more so crafters than gatherers. And maybe the mount. I'm not super sure that the attire is going to be worth the 50 fit tokens if you just want money. Mainly because I'm not that confident that like 12 gunmetal black dye, for instance, is worth less than one Peace Lover's attire. But yeah, that is interesting. That would be, I guess, the I don't know, is it? I remember that you can get a white and jet black dye from your retainers as well, if you have them as the correct jobs, I believe. But I wonder if it is faster, quote unquote faster, to do Skyrise Celebration for those dyes, or if the consistency that you can get them from your retainers with is good enough. Either way, the most reliable way is probably to do something that earns you money consistently, and then just use the money to buy the dyes because of their rarity. Let me just see if I have to go out and in again to get that timer started. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to switch. Nope, okay. I guess in like 2 hours it's over, because then it'll have been 24 hours. Well, now the question is what to do next. I could continue I have this Palace of the Dead run that we've progressed on stream, which we could continue on, but we could also look at those Moogle Tomes. We can make a group. Huh. Interesting. People doing Deltascape from Moogle Tomes. Is that a new emergent strategy? Is that efficient? 2? How quickly can that be done? Is that faster? It could be, if you can do it in like 2 minutes, with a 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 4. Yeah, that makes sense. I have managed to skip the labyrinth phase in a roulette group, so that should be doable. That should be possible with a group that knows what they're doing. And I saw that group that was emerging had a blue mage, so they can probably definitely do it. Yeah, that makes sense. I agree, Gilano. But yeah, then it's competing with, I believe, the fastest your average like blue mage squad could do Aurum Vale. Like, I know that there are people that can do it extremely fast, that are really optimizing it at like 3 or 4 minutes, I think. But I would imagine that it makes sense to say like 5 minutes per clear-ish. 4 to 5 minutes, which still means like 1 tome per minute from Aurum Vale, which means that Deltascape 3 would have to compete with that. The big benefit is that it seems like that Deltascape does not require you to have a full team of blue mages to do it, which is probably the big sell factor, because a lot of people do this thing where they see the Moogle treasure trove happen and then they go, ah, dang it, I should have leveled. I should have leveled my blue mage and gotten the spells and that. I'll get it. I'll get it for next season. I'll get it next season. And next season rolls around. And they go, ah, darn it, I forgot again. And rinse repeat forever. And I have multiple friends that do that. Every single time they remember that they forgot to do their blue mage homework. But it's understandable. The easiest time to grab all of the blue mage spells is either when they're new, like when blue mages get like an expansion with 10 new levels and more spells. Then there's a huge influx of players, and that means that suddenly you can do all of the blue mage collecting without a lot of waiting. And then the only other time is during Moogle Treasure Trove, because then suddenly people are enticed to do it, just because maybe it'll result in them getting faster tomes. Speaking of those tomes, maybe we should take a little look at the rewards table. I don't even know how many tomes I would need to get the things that I would want. I think there's a few mounts. Maybe. Ah yes, the sea of people. Well, it looks like for me it's mainly the 5 top things, but I don't think I would ever use that Demon Break earring for anything. So it would probably just be the 2 mounts and the minion and the hairstyle, and even then I don't think I'll use the minion and the hairstyle. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I think the main reason I've done a lot of the Aurum Vale one is also because it's easier to bring 3 friends than 7. I wonder how strong Blue Mage would be in that content. Which one was my DPS? Was it this one? Maybe? Looks right. It looks correct. It's not this one, is it? No, that's not that one. This one? It's the healer. And that's the other healer, and this is the tank. Okay, then this must be the DPS one. Peculiar Light we won't need. And then it's just a matter of what other tools we can bring. I don't even know if we need anything else. Huh. Bring like White Wind just in case. And oh, that at least explains why I had oh, that was the rest. Why I had the Peculiar Light on, because there was nothing else you would need. Let's just add that back in like this. And then I need to figure out whether I can remember all of my buttons. I think I do. And then we see if that group is still there. Oh, it is. Let's see how effective it is then. That's an interesting discovery, I think. That was pretty quick. Now we see how much pure damage we can get out of the gear that I have. Oop. I think that's the limit. And then we go Blue Mage in Deltascape 3. And then the exciting thing is whether I remember how to do a good opener. That was not optimal. That's fine. Oh, right. And I managed to confuse myself. Hmm, 2.5 minutes. That's okay. Like if we made the assumption that 5 minutes on Aurum Vale was pretty standard, then that was pretty good. Right. That's a disaster. That's a disaster. It seems like the plan is to just ignore the dragon. Ah, dang it. Oh boy. I never did very much DPS blue maging, so this moon flute thing is really getting to me. Oh. That's a lot of people leaving at once. Well, it does seem like if you have a group that knows what we're here for, you can pretty reliably get it done through without getting to the labyrinth phase, even if you make several mistakes. Yeah, exactly, Gilano. But I have seen the labyrinth phase a couple times. In like random groups. I'm just gonna check, because I didn't feel very comfortable with Blue Mage. I'm not sure how much more damage I was bringing, if any, with my mistakes. Okay, that's a really wide one. I thought it was out of it. Yeah, it was definitely faster with blue, but it's probably a combination of the group. And if we're queuing again, then I don't have time to actually switch. Ah, there's someone watching the cutscene. I think I should just not use the Rose of Destruction in the opener. I lost out on using Matra Magic because of it. Ah, right, this again. don't try to use Moon Flute the second time. It's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. There are a lot of things that gets in the way of getting the optimal opener here. Oh, I have to make sure I actually use Lucid Dreaming here. That's not gonna happen, is it? Nope. I should have just stayed where I was. That's actually an extremely smart idea. Just do Deltascape 3 and get both an achievement and mogtomes. It's genius. Hey Skullwolf. We're just doing some mogtome farming. Or trying to. It seems like the groups just disappear after a few runs. It seems like this group is feeling a lot slower. True. To get the mogtomes while doing 8 tanks, you would need to do it synced, and that takes way longer. Especially if you're doing Delta Escape 3, since that one specifically has that labyrinth as we talked about before. Yeah, you can see here, because we have the mogtomes, suddenly there's like a couple blue mage spell groups. I don't think they're there that much outside of mogtomes. Now we're doing some, just a few runs of this tank thing, just to see how it goes. I have actually never been in these groups. I just want to see if it's how much is happening in them. And then it's also a good way to spend some time while we're waiting for another mogtome group to appear. Well, if the group is gonna form at all. How do you reply to a message from a player in another world? Does anyone know? Anyone have had success with replying to people when they're having a party finder group and they write something to you from a different world? Do you know how to respond to them? Because I don't know. So, the thing we're up to is that there's this specific achievement you can progress. Let me see if I can find it. Can't remember if it even is in battle. I think it's these ones. Complete high level duties. I'm pretty sure it's those. It's either that or these. So you just keep doing relatively easy content that you can do in seconds or a minute, and you bring 8 tanks because then everyone gets the credit, and you just do it until people get bored. And since you need to do it like 300 times to get the mount, that means that you can get back to this a lot. And which dungeons and, well, which content counts for that achievement is a little complicated. Oh. I keep falling for that. And reading it. "42 seconds. Morning, Leon. How's the Savage progression going? Right now, I was trying to find a Mogtome party, but I couldn't find one. So instead, we're doing the tankless job achievement runs. different stuff this week and focus more on leveling again. Oh yeah, okay, cool. Did you get some jobs up and discovered something new fun? Or was it just leveling and you got further? See, I saw P4S in Rage, but ever after all my party finders couldn't get past Pinex anymore, so I lost the motivation to play more P4S. Phase 1. Ah, that's the worst. Like, you get to a new part and suddenly everyone forgets how to play. Okay, just leveling. Well, did you have some specific jobs you had fun with? Yeah, I've just been I've actually spent most of the week playing a different game. That is also mainly because I've, like, aside from Savage Raiding and such, I've done most of the things in Final Fantasy XIV, so I've had fun with Monster Hunter. But fortunately this week I got all my weekly tomestones and stuff done throughout the week, so I don't have to sit in a 6-hour session and get it done on a Sunday. Thank you, Gilano. Let's see. Everything is fun. I finished my machinist yesterday. Nice. Did you have you had fun with the reassemble chainsaw yet? All those numbers, just massive critical hit numbers. And yeah, I've been playing Sunbreak. I got to I'm at master rank 40 something. 45, I think. And I pretty much only play Gunlands. I had to get acquainted with the fact that this burst fire strategy is the most efficient way to play it, which was not what I found the most fun about Gunlands, but now that I've gotten used to it, it's very fun. Have you played Rise? You got Machinist to 90 and haven't touched it since. Okay. Fair enough. You know what? I get that. It reminds me of me leveling Ninja. It took me most of the leveling from 80 to 90 to finally get, finally really get how to plan the entire rotation, so that the opener works consistently, even in a dungeon. And I really finally got it right. In the dungeon I got to level 90 in. So I finally got it, and then I just shelved Ninja until I made the Ninja Guide, where then I had to relearn it. Or learn how to do it perfectly, you could say. To be able to show other people how to play it. And cool, saw the Sunbreak release, but I didn't get it. See, I was completely into Monster Hunter World, like just World, and played it all the time. And then I had like a few weeks where I didn't play it, um, right over Christmas, and my entire friend group thus already had done all of the Behemoth Extreme they ever planned to do by the time I came back. So I kind of just lost interest there. I did come back for things like Katie for a little bit and stuff like that. But in Iceborne, I came in a little late, and because I played Gunlands, and specifically a Shelling Gunlands, I had a really tough time with the elemental stuff that you needed to bring. That made it really difficult, and so I never completed it, and I wasn't that interested. And I did play Rise on release on Switch, and then Rise for PC came out like a month after Endwalker. So I had to, like, a month ago or so, well, a few weeks ago honestly, I had to like progress through the entire base game story to get to Sunbreak, because I never got it done because I was busy leveling every single job in Final Fantasy XIV when Rise came to PC. I think that if you liked World, you will definitely also like Rise. I'm really confident saying that. The one thing you'll have the most difficulty getting used to is probably the wire bug. But the wire bug, the big problem is that the wire bug is if I don't know if you played World on mouse and keyboard, or if you played it with a controller, but if you played it with mouse and keyboard, I can say right now, immediately, that you will need to adjust the keybinds, because the wire bug is on the middle mouse button for some reason. I would recommend keybinding it to the same button you used for the slinger ammo on World. That should be fine. But once you have that down, you just need to figure out those switch skills and wire bug actions, and then it's pretty much World, just with more things you can do. If you liked World or Iceborne, what weapon did you play in that? And yes, exactly. If you're leveling, you're not doing anything else. There's also, if you're leveling a job in Final Fantasy XIV, you're going to be like, there's always more to do. It doesn't even matter that you've done your dailies, because you can just queue for a dungeon or do a fate. There's always something you could do to get further, so you don't really feel like you could put down Final Fantasy XIV. So a little observation here is that I'm definitely not making an attempt to do the perfect Dark Knight opener here. I'm just going through all the buttons. But because we're not going to get around to a second burst, the order in which I use all my cooldowns doesn't really matter. Longsword, but I've always been hilariously bad at it, so after 400 hours I swap to dual blades. Okay. Longsword is one of the really hard ones. The interesting thing with Longsword is that it is both one of the easier weapons to like get into, because you can just not use all the counter stuff. But at the same time, it is the best weapon. If I remember correctly, it is the best weapon in both Rise and World. In terms of potential damage. And if you think the counter stuff was a bit broken in World and Iceborne, then good news, because it's even better in Rise. You even have, if you remember the weird, like that special sheathing move, that they got in Iceborne. In Sunbreak, they get a sheath that you can charge for a while, and if you have one of those like stages of your Spirit Blade thing, then if you fail to click the counter button manually, it'll spend a charge to counter for you. So you have literally an auto counter. It's not always available, but you can have it counter for you if you're not that great. Yeah, I just seem to recall that the speedruns I've seen on Sunbreak is absolutely insane with Longsword. But honestly, the difference between the best weapon and the worst weapon in Monster Hunter is like a few minutes in speedrunning, and if you're playing to be good at to just have fun and do well as yourself, then all of the weapons are viable. I would say that the longsword, if you can get the countering down, it's incredibly fun. I just prefer to play weapons with the shield because I'm not great at mastering the exact timing for the counter. And also I just really like the gun lance. And I do believe Gunlance tends to rank like either absolute last or among the worst 3. So I can say honestly that I don't care that much about speedrunning. I also really love having defensive skills rather than offensive skills. If I remember correctly, I have like 1,000 hours on Monster Hunter World, and the vast majority was spent in base world. Yeah, Gunlance has an extreme amount of utility, mainly in that all of their shells do the same damage every time, which is good on enemies with bad hit zones and bad on enemies with great hit zones. And it means that you can go through the game without ever really mastering where the best hitboxes on an enemy are. But because the full burst is so much stronger in Rise, you're pretty much forced to learn at least somewhat which spots to hit because of the swinging paths. But it depends on what you like in a weapon. One thing that Sunbreak gave to Greatsword was a way to play without as much of the whole you need to find your spot and charge attacks. something happened with our damage. Suddenly we can't ignore the ice as a ice attack anymore. But Liam, the good news are that if you played Iceborne, you probably remember how you had to log in every week and do your day, like do the weekly event quests and need to get your login reward and stuff like that. That's not a thing in Rise. All events are there forever. You just have to go and grab them. So you can come back, like you can come back to the game or get to the game in a year and just do all of the content then. So there's no fear of missing out. You can just play whenever you want. Especially if you don't care about multiplayer. The watch list. So Leon, have you gotten any of these like tank mounts in Final Fantasy 14? Or not done enough of this quote-unquote kind of content to get it? So the thing that I'm doing here is there's these mounts that you're given for doing 300 runs of difficult content as a tank. And the most effective way to get it done quickly is to just join a group with 8 tanks and do something that is considered hard content by the game, but just do it unsynced and just plow through it like this. I can just find the achievement. It was the thing that I was looking for before in the achievements list. Achievements like this one, thank you, Dark Knight. You get a mount for the 300th run. Have you gotten any of those? Was what I was asking. I think most people don't get them by just doing the content normally. Most people go out of their way to do like this because of the amount of time you have to go. It's not particularly like super fancy mounts, it's just like mounts that you can't get for anything else. Like for instance, if you do 300 with Dark Knight, you get a Battle Panther mount, apparently. So some people go out of their way to get them. Ah, okay. Well, the good news are that there's a unique one for every tank, so if you've done a lot of content with only that one tank, then you're probably closer than other people with multiple tanks might. So the reason I happened upon this is because apparently this is the fastest dungeon to do repeatedly for this stuff. And incidentally, it is also one of the, I think, maybe new strategies that people use for the Moogle Tomestones stuff. So I think I'll get there's 14 runs left to get the Dark Knight one, and then I think I'll go on to doing something else, because I guess this is not exactly the most entertaining thing to watch either. So does that mean that you're leveling now, Leon? You're getting ninja up. That's a good idea. If you're trying to get as many jobs up as possible, I think maybe we've talked about this before. I can't remember, but having a job in like every expansion's level range is very beneficial, because then you have access to more like useful quests for XP. But of course you'd have to get a lot of jobs up to level 50 at least first, because there's not very much. I don't think there is very much that is particularly helpful for the first 50 levels uniquely. Especially because all the B-stripe quests there give not a lot of XP, and the clan hunts give no XP, and things like that. Let's see, how many have we left? 11? Hmm, 44 seconds. I think I saw 42 earlier. Ah, okay. If that's the way you find the most fun, that is also the most important part, because if you're having fun with leveling, then you're going to level more. Like, there's so many genius strategies to get more XP quickly, but if they're not fun, then you're not gonna do them. And if you're not gonna do them, then it doesn't matter how much XP they're worth. Nine to go? I can see I'll have to actually adjust the name of the stream to make sure this is correct. There we go. That's more accurate. And that was a lot of people leaving at once. In that case, maybe we'll do something else. What would be fun? What would be a fun way to get mogtomes? So many mount farming groups, but no mog farming groups. That's interesting. I would have expected many of those this week. At least this week. What can we do? What we can do? First of all, we save this. And then maybe we can go and do Aurum Vale solo, just to see that we can, because I know we can. And there is no Aurum Vale groups. This is a very interesting loadout I have here. I wonder what I was doing then. These are things that we need. We won't need Chocometeor. 1,000 needles. It's also very unnecessary. I guess this is what I used for the dungeon soloing examples in my Blue Mage guide. I'm guessing that's what I was doing. We need missile for the first 2 bosses. This is probably a better idea. We don't need Ethereal Spark for anything. And this one will be helpful for some extra healing. And I feel like I'm missing something important. Oh, this is something we want. We're going to be using the tank mode. So it might... this shares cooldown with Angel Snacks. We don't want that. We want this. Oh, we don't have any of the primal abilities. That's what's missing. Cake. And in that case, I don't want that. It's so little extra damage for just me alone. We're also missing Supernaka. Where's that? There it is. So what is it we don't need? I don't think we need this. Oh. Yes, I would say if you're leveling other actual combat jobs that you can use for all content, then it's probably a better idea to focus on those first. That is, I absolutely agree on that one. But Blue Mage is fun. It's also just really complicated to know which things are good and which things are bad. And what things you should and shouldn't bring and stuff like that. I feel like we should have an AoE attack. For that isn't Ram's voice. I don't think we're gonna need launcher. It's not going to be that helpful. It's going to be too expensive. Oh right, I remember now. Stotram is really good for AoE damage. But yeah, it is fun, Leon. The unfortunate part is that it requires you to have pre-made groups to do stuff, which very quickly makes it difficult to find groups in general. And normally, this, right now, is the time when people remember that Blue Mage exists. So it's a little surprising that there isn't that many groups. Let me just check again. Oh. There is a farming group. And it's gone. That's incredible. I'm guessing there's fewer people that want to lead than there's people that wants to go. Now let's see if we can find a tank. Are you a tank? You're a tank. Thank you. And then do this. Needs to be synced, otherwise we don't get the mogtomes. And then we go. I'll have to change some gear once we're inside, because for these meme spells like missile, it's way better to have... Oh wait, maybe I already have? Do I already have? I guess I already have. Yep. So I was already wearing my spell speed equipment. And we do Basic Instinct. And Mighty Guard. And Toad Oil. And now the interesting part is whether I can get this right the first time. Nope, that's not gonna happen. In that case, we're just gonna deal with these guys first. And the thing is that you can do this whole pull all the way into the boss room even as a solo blue mage, but you need to do it correctly and you need to not pull anything unnecessary, otherwise you'll die, because you have an extremely tight time limit because of just the sheer damage the enemies are gonna do. What? Oh. I used the wrong button. There we go. Now we're at the first boss. And we heal up. And this goes a lot faster if you're two. Just two. That was the first boss. I think a regular, like a roulette group would still be dealing with the boss by now. So if you're in a full team of blue mages, you can very easily deal with this whole room in an instant with ultra vibration. It's really crazy. If you don't know that it's a blue mage, it looks like someone's cheating, doesn't it? And then this boss is also prone to missile, so we just go again. And then we miss. And oh. So far we've spent about 4 minutes and we're approaching the final trash packs. Of course, if this wasn't a limited job, it would probably be way more reasonable. Also, the bad news are that these absurd actions like missile don't work on very many bosses after level 50. And we just deal with both of these guys. So the big thing here is that the final boss is immune to missile. So we need as many of the big attack buttons as possible for that fight, which is why I'm just using regular attacks for these. This is the best time to use this channel. Right after it has used one spell we need to avoid. Oh, I've forgotten to watch my mana. And we switch to mana reserves. Ow. Conveniently, we can just steal mana or generate mana from the boss. So 9.5 minutes, and it wasn't exactly the most effective way to do it, I don't think. I pulled some enemies I didn't need to at the start, so it took like a good 30 seconds to a minute more. I wasn't sure where I should and shouldn't use Ultra Vibration, so some enemies took a lot longer. So we could have probably done it in like 7 or 8 minutes. And then you add 2 more blue mages and a tank, and suddenly you're down to possibly just 5 or 4 minutes. Mm-hmm. I had actually expected a lot more mogtome groups today. That's a bit surprising. Mm-hmm. Oh, while casting, as I have a cooldown. I'll see if I can get my own group up and running and see if there's any chance that people will join. So let's see what we don't need on this list. I don't think we'll need Song of Torment. So we will bring instead. I wonder if I saved that other loadout. We will instead bring this and this and this. The big, most difficult part about this making a blue mage loadout is how you will need to figure out where to put your buttons. That is definitely the most difficult part about it. This is not gonna happen if I'm going to be healing. Another question, what was the button that I wanted to put? Oh yes, Ram's voice and ultra vibration. And then we need to make space for missile. There we go. I think this could work. I think I can pull through a lot of damage even as a healer, so this is probably fine. Mm-hmm. Meh. Oh, there's one. I think that's everything we need to cover, and Looks like I guess the other blue mage does not have missile. This is where it starts getting really scary. No, 4 minutes with the last boss. Yeah, so 5 minutes and 30 seconds for a full party, or light party to do it, and 9.5 to do it alone. Uh-oh. The game crashed. Yep. Yep. Sorry about that. Weird. And Leon said, while it might be a bit unreliable to always get groups, I love the teamwork aspect of the game. Yeah. There's also the part where blue mages need to rely on each other because you need someone to apply the ram's voice and then someone else to apply the ultra vibration. Or one person can do both, but ultra vibration won't always be there. That's weird. I thought I'd actually put a specific, like, streaming background. Oh dear. No one took the fruits. The other person is my best friend, Arya, which has maybe been seen on some of my videos. She made the picture. And thank you. And she's right there. This guy is Arya, the one that made the picture. Ah, I messed up real bad. You can really feel that we're missing one ultra vibration every now and then. And I had actually put a different background on the stream specifically, but I guess that just failed. But that's how it goes when things crash and everything breaks. It's the teamwork that you need in Blue Mage content is is slightly different from how it goes in Savage. It's just very different ways. The most awkward part is tanking. Because, well, let's just say that Blue Mages tanking in like level 70 content, for instance, are like paper tanks. You need to use extremely strong defensive cooldowns for nearly every single tank buster in the game. Yeah, Ari has made a lot of really good, really cool pictures. She's way better at it than I am. I just do it for thumbnails mostly. I wonder if that tank spamming group is still around. So, are you having a hard time with the mudras? Since you were saying you were leveling Ninja, Leon, or have you not gotten to the part where it starts getting complicated yet? Yeah, I get that. if you find it a little difficult to keep an overview of the different combinations, I can recommend like getting, like if you have a second monitor, just like get a picture of the different combinations for each of the spells that you need, and put them and put that picture on your secondary monitor so you can just, you know, glance at that. But then again, I imagine that what you're going to learn is like the muscle memory in your hand when you're like clicking in the mudras. And there's multiple combinations that work, because one thing you will notice, that I think I also mentioned that in my ninja guides, is that what matters is what the last sign is. That is what decides what spell it is that you get. So you just need to, you know, click everything but that button and then use it last. And that's more important for planning it out when you get that 10 Chijin button at level 70. Where you suddenly have to understand what order you need to do it to get the combination of abilities that you want. But it is a way. No. And it's worth it, because ninja is really strong. I personally just find it really, really tough to deal with when you also have to dealing with mechanics and also remembering what order you need to cast. There's nothing else. I guess I'll just help this person. Do we need a full group for this? Maybe not. I don't know. Keep track of any things like this, but are you gonna return later today? No, so I'm streaming now instead. So my plan is I'm going to be streaming for a little bit longer now. Maybe I'll stop in like half an hour was what I was thinking. And then I'll probably be streaming next week. The reason is that I have to not be streaming to be able to work on the videos. And I have a video that I'm working on that I have to work some time on today. So I'll be doing that instead. You don't have to keep track of when I'll be streaming exactly. Like that's the thing is I usually do it around when I've put up a video. And otherwise I'll say that it's a little special. So yeah, I'll probably be ending the stream in about 20 minutes or so. But yeah, usually around when I put up the video, and this video was being up this early in the day, and me streaming this early is a little bit special occasion because apparently the Skyrise Celebration ended a little bit earlier than I had planned. Is it because you're leaving for a bit, Leon? Oh, awesome. Right, yeah, exactly. Next week the video will be out at the time it usually comes out, and I'll probably be streaming at the time I usually stream. If you were to hop back in time, you'll see that I was doing the Skyrise Celebration and it was the last one of today. So if I did it any later, I would have missed it. But hey, the good or bad news, now that you said you had gotten burned a little bit out on P4S, is that the next raid tier is coming in around a month. Ah, okay. I understand. Is it still with randoms? Ah. Was it you that wasn't really feeling getting a static because you weren't sure about your, like, when you had time to play? I can't remember if it was you that said that. Not about the time for me. It's unsure about what job you want to main. You're searching for one right now, and if you end up playing something different, you'll just find another one. Well, depends on what you want to do. Like, if you know that you will not enjoy raiding unless you're playing the job you want, like you like the most, then that's super important. But if you don't, like, if there's a handful of jobs that you're like, I'd be fine if I was playing this in a raid, then if I were you, I would like make a list of the jobs that you would be willing to play in a raid team. And then keep that in mind when you see listings, or like when you find a raid team that's interested. You go, well, I can play these jobs. And then if they're like, oh, well, how good can you play that job? And then, of course, that's when you know, oh, I know that I can play this job, but I have not done Savage with it yet, for instance. That way, you're like setting their expectations so that they're not expecting you to be some superhero right at the start. You're in the summoner stage right now. Well, Arya switched from Summoner to Red Mage back in Shadowbringers when Summoner was also way more complicated to play. And if I remember correctly, it was from my recommendation. But if you feel like Summoner is fun, then you are in the extremely convenient position that Summoner works extremely well with Black Mage gear or Red Mage gear. Like, if you figure out sometime down the line that you actually wanted to play Red Mage, then conveniently, if you used low spell speed gear, which is the most common for summoners, I believe, because then your Bahamut gets displaced less from your Searing Light. Then your summoner gear is completely possible to use, like just apply directly to the Red Mage, and then you just switch. The only thing you'll be missing is a weapon. If you, on the other hand, find out that you want to play Black Mage, then there's a good chance that you already were leaning towards, oh, it's really fun when I have a lot of spell speed on my summoner, in which case you might already have some spell speed gear, and summoner is completely capable of playing with super high spell speed. I have tested it. And then, well, Black Mage tends to prefer really high spell speed, and then you can just grab a weapon and then you're good to go. So, conveniently, Summoner is the one job that could switch to any of the other mages, no problem. And I think maybe, I'm not entirely sure, but I think maybe, just check here, maybe just check down the list. Maybe we can get a little bit of info here. I think the biggest downsides of Summoner is that because it's really, like the bar to entry is kind of low, there might be a lot of competition for the raid spots. Like, the probability that there is already a summoner in your raid, in a raid static, is high. But at the same time, I believe summoner has by far the lowest DPS, personal DPS at least, of the 3 mages. But at the same time, the summoner is of course affected the least by boss mechanics, because you cast like 4 spells per minute. Everything else is just instant, so you can just run around the battlefield. Meanwhile, Red Mage casts like nearly half of their spells, and Black Mage casts most of their spells, so they're much more affected by boss mechanics. So Summoner tends to, in my experience, perform a lot better when you're learning a fight, and once you've already beaten it, sure, having the higher damage from being a job that can do some more damage when you've mastered the mechanics, that's convenient, but you don't need it, you already beat the boss. It's actually a little bit like what we were talking about with Monster Hunter earlier. A weapon like Gun Lance is much easier to learn a monster with, because you can just hide behind your shield for most attacks until you figure it out. Meanwhile, a weapon like Longsword doesn't work that well until you've learned when to attack and when to counter. It's a little bit comparable to that, with like the difference between playing a Black Mage or a Summoner. That the Summoner has the most mobility. So once you have learned a fight, being able to switch to a job with more potential DPS might be good. But I would say that the big benefit is if your Summoner is your main, and you learn that you like Red Mage or Black Mage as well, then maybe you can get into groups regardless. The problem is that groups tend to not want 2 mages, so you wouldn't need to have a secondary mage. If you like ranged, I imagine that because of the mobility of the Summoner, you would also be able to translate the way that you approach a fight to any of the ranged physical DPS. Like you would be able to move around the battlefield the same way. While Red Mage and Black Mage would have to work a little different. Like, Summoner doesn't really have that much mobility aside from the Ifrit casts. And that kind of correlates with Machinist. That doesn't really have much mobility, aside from running. And I don't think Bard has anything either, aside from the repelling shot, which is... I don't know if people use repelling shot, to be honest. It's so specific. Yeah, what I'm getting at is that if you like playing Summoner, it's a really, really good... I think I also said that last time we were talking about Summoner and raiding, that it's a really good choice if you're not sure what you want to play anyway. It's really easy to deal with. It has the tools that it needs to have, and a res. I think, I'm not sure, but I think actually that oh, that's not where I wanted to go. I think, oh, actually, apparently a Summoner does more damage than Red Mage. That's my bad. But the important thing you have to remember is, also like we talked about earlier, it's not about the damage of the job, it's about what you like to play. And most importantly, if you can't beat a boss and you get blamed for your job choice, then there's a problem with the group and not the job. Because even a group of all the 8 weakest jobs should still be able to beat a boss on time. So don't worry about that. What I'm saying is, Leon, don't choose your job based on who does the most damage. That'll change every patch anyway, potentially. And it could even change just based on people getting better. Like a really good one is that sometimes you discover that a job has this particular trick that makes them able to do more damage, or they have this synergy with a specific other job, or if they can just get away with ignoring this mechanic. So if your party team works a little better, then the job becomes better. Things like that. So the important thing is that you're playing a job that you like, which is why I suggested before that you make a list of the jobs you would be willing to play. Like, if it depends on how much you're willing to sacrifice to get into a static versus how much you prioritize being able to play the job that you want to play. Like, if you want to be as wide as possible so that you have the opportunity to join nearly any static, then you would have to, you know, have 2 tanks and 2 healers, and then one of them has to be pure healer and one of them has to be barrier, and you need to have at least 1 mage and 1 physical ranged, and then you need to have 2 melee DPS on your list. And if you don't have that, then there will be groups that just can't fit you. But if you know for a fact that you wouldn't want to play melee DPS in a raid static, then it doesn't matter that you can't join a raid static that can only fit a melee DPS. Right? So Leon, I don't know if you're still here, but if you are here, what methods are you using for searching for a static? Like, maybe I can add something to it. I think I remember you said something about a Discord server. That's exactly why I'm leveling everything. Well, I hope you want to play everything. That makes sense, Leon. The problematic part about that is that if, let's say, you wanted to play the best DPS, then you would have been forced to level up and switch to a different job in the middle of the last raid of this raid tier, I think. Because I think Samurai dropped a few spaces in the, like, who's best when they got changed a bit and lost Kaiten. Meanwhile, Ninja jumped even higher when they changed Trick Attack and Mug. You're posting an LFG post from time to time and keep your eyes open in the party finder. Right. So you're mainly using the party finder directly. That is a way. I'm sure you will get some like responses from that, and I'm sure you are getting some responses from that. One other way you can also go about it is let me see if I can actually find this again. So, my suggestion, and I don't really have the time and space to, let's see, I'm not gonna join a hardcore static immediately. I'm totally fine with the more messy. Yeah, I think the most important thing for you to have fun is that you join a static where you have fun with your static. It's not that important that you get the kills at first. It's just about having fun. Like, it doesn't matter that you're getting the kills if you're dreading playing with the people because you don't like them or something. So it's a really good mindset to go with. You don't mind that it's not perfect. My suggestion for other approaches you could go to for finding a static, and now I'm just gonna preface it by saying I don't know how well they work, and people have varying success with these strategies. If you try and go on, if you use Discord, you can try and look for public servers that are related to Final Fantasy XIV, like FFXIV servers, and see if you can find one for your data center. Like for instance, I can see multiple servers regarding stuff on the Primal data center, just right out the gate. So if you're on that one, then you have some options there. Another thing you can do is that there is the Final Fantasy XIV recruitment subreddit, which you can find on the list on the right, on the main Final Fantasy XIV subreddit. And there, people put posts. There's like posts that are only a few hours ago. I don't know how much happens in your data center specifically, but some data centers have a lot more representation than others. You don't have to be on the same server, you just have to be in the same data center. So you could go with that. You can make a post there, or you can just like go and see if you can find some groups that sound promising. The problem is that because no one has like a clear-cut path where the correct place to look is, like there is no most correct place. So that's why I'm just like throwing out a bunch of options, like places you could go. Like if you prefer to look in game, then you could also go here. Now, you don't have to use the hardcore tag. It was just an example, like a way to filter what you're looking for. But just scroll through the fellowship finder. I did see that there are some like raiding fellowships. That's also an option, but that's closer to like a public Discord server where people find players to play with, rather than a fixed static group. But it's a good idea to go like if you're in in one of the major cities, and if you watch, maybe sometimes someone will put out a recruitment post or something like that. I think what you might find is in a few weeks there might be a lot of statics popping up. Like a lot of statics that are going to be doing they're going to be doing the next raid tier. And to do that, they'll need to be ready beforehand. So they'll be making their raid teams before it starts. And these kinds of pop-up statics are really like make or break. Sometimes they'll fail immediately and just break apart after they've been talking up how much fun, how much fun it's gonna be for 2 weeks, and then they find out how hard it actually is and stuff like that. So that's also a factor. But yeah, I think that's my best advice is that you can try Reddit, you can try Discord, you can try the Fellowship Finder, and you're probably going to see more statics pop up in the following weeks in preparation for the next raid tier, which also means that they might not be that interested in doing the current raid tier. I hope you can use some of that advice, and if you can't, then meh, sorry. It's the best I got. But as long as you feel comfortable with the way you're going about it, it can take a long time to find the perfect raid team. I haven't done much raiding in Final Fantasy XIV, as I think I've mentioned before, but in World of Warcraft, I have previously left perfectly capable raid teams that did get the kills and everything, because there were individuals in the raid team that I just didn't jive with. It just didn't work. So just like to save everyone mentally, I just moved to a different one. But there, it's usually because there is a, an extra raid team waiting in the wing that you can just jump to, right? I think that's all the advice I have. And now it's also a little past when I said I was gonna end streaming, so if there's any like final questions or things, then I'll stick around for a few minutes to answer, and then I'll probably end the stream here in just a little bit, like in a couple of minutes. I'm glad to hear that, Leon. Well, I guess there is no more questions or anything to add. In that case, I hope you'll enjoy continuing your leveling with Ninja, Leon, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day or night, depending on where you are. And then I'll see you guys very soon. Next week, probably. Right? Thank you all so much.